So welcome back to part 2 of May's Tarot Read. So for this question, I wanted to ask, is the collective going to be shown or told a little bit more of the truth of what's been going on? So on the political stage, the healthcare, the, child stuff, all that, because I think that a lot of people who are still, focusing on frequency, but they're well aware of all this systemic corruption, I think they're looking to see some type of physical change. Now, I feel like people can get too caught up in this a little bit where it just drags them back down. So you want to stay out of that a little bit, but I wanted to ask around it and what can we expect as far as that goes. So the first thing that came through, which we've been talking about this for a while, is the Tower card here, surrounded by the Magician and the Moon. So these are manipulated tricks to create Tower moments. So I feel like, again, we're going to be seeing manipulative tricks to create Tower moments, to wake people up and to redirect the certain systems and timelines and the physical. So you have to remember, all that's planned and all that's been planned and going on has been created for multiple reasons. So you have some people waking up because of it. You have new directions for things, legal reasons. And then you have, things playing over here for optics. So it's kind of, there's a lot of angles to it. And some people just can't, they can't see it. So they're very much of, I need to see something tangible to know. Even if they may have played around with the idea, they're not getting the fact that it's going on regardless. Even if you see tricks over here within the collective, this is still what's happening here. So this is to show you that what has been happening and will continue to happen is manipulated, but by the good. It's created by the good because it's very calm. And this came in with this, and this is a don't stress and don't overthink card. So when these come in together, that means if you are already aware and awake, then it's not for you. Number 1. So this was in the background, the Page of Swords, because this could be news or negative news. So when you kind of combine all these cards together, it tells me that it might be informational too. They might be throwing some different storylines out there and things out there that are all manipulated for towers. Because when you combine these, when you have these 3 here, and then you have these 2 here in the background, that tells me then that anything that they're creating, so creating here for towers, is going to be informational because we have the swords. So they don't want you to stress or overthink about the negative news you're going to hear. That's what these cards mean together. I feel like this is more like on the ground action. So I feel like there's a lot that's going to happen on the ground action in the physical. Some of it you may catch, some of it you may not catch, but I feel like this card is like there's certain things they've had to walk away from, or certain things, that energy that people might feel that should happen, that it's going to happen differently. That's another way to read this card. So the way I see it with this, and I've always seen it this way, is if you're focusing on frequency, this doesn't even pertain to you, any of it. If you are kind of in the middle and you're in the in-between, you will have something that will trigger your awakening because you're meant to stay. And then there are people who chose not to. They're not ready. Their soul's evolution, it's not there. It won't be beneficial for them, and they won't be able to get it. So they came for just some certain earthly lessons, and then they'll be leaving. So that's the collective group goes, as far as that goes. But I still feel like it's going to be informational. This is going to come out information, like it's all going to be in something you're hearing, something that you're reading, and that's how it's going to come out to people. So yes, some of it will be things that you see, but a lot of it is going to be what you read, what you hear, and that's how more people, so it's going to come out. There's more that's going to come out, and it can't be stopped. So I really think a big information dump is right in front of us. And I mean a big information dump. So, I can't tell you the exact timing, but it's in the energy, and it's been a little bit in the background for the past couple weeks, but it's in May's energy. So some way, somehow, that's what I'm getting. And this came in, so the Hermit is guided. It's your guides, ascended masters, off-worlders. They have a huge part in this. So you have to understand that they see a lot more than we see here. So when people get confused, or people get like, oh, this, nothing's ever going to change, or, that's just your kind of ego trying to trip you up a little bit. So not that people aren't having rough times, because inflation is rough. The cost of everything is insane. But then you have the money system change looming. So then there's that element to it. And how are they going to exactly flip that over? Even though I see it flipping over, I don't know every detail. I haven't looked at what I can even pick up on the details. So I just feel like people, the fastest way and the best way to actually find these answers is to increase your intuition and vibration, so you can tell yourself. You can get in a meditative state and ask the questions yourself. You can maybe use the tool of cards yourself. You can ask and get it in dreams yourself. This whole awakening process is meant to reconnect you with your own power, with your own source light, with the God within you. That is the whole point. So you actually don't need anything or anyone else. But I'm just trying to be here as a guide for people to keep shining the light, even when, come on, this is the way, so that people can have somewhere that they're directed, and then you kind of have to make the steps and do the action steps yourself. So that is the whole point. So that was another strong message, is it's going to depend on your level of awareness, because not everyone is going to be able to, like I said, not everyone's soul plan is to be able to take all this in. Not everyone's soul plan is to be able to ascend here. Some people will need more tangible 3D lessons, and they'll exit, meet with their team, and then they'll go off in a different space. So people just have to make sure that you're keeping kind of all this in the back of your mind without hyper focusing on it, if that makes sense. So it's like you have to be aware, be mindful, notice things, but don't have a constant emotional reaction to it, number one. And don't connect it with like fear or worry or anxiety. So I guess it kind of ties in to be the same thing. But so I hope that makes sense. So stay tuned for part 3.